How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Movie Hooker YouTube video. I am Guy from Movie Hooker as always, and today I want to be taking you through what I believe to be the best German serial killer movies. So I'm going to start off with one from I think 1983, and it's called Angst. Now this is a very, very important film. Even more important because of the news that I just read. This is about an imprisoned serial killer who's going to kill if he gets out again, and he gets out again. He gets out and he kills again. The reason this is sort of relevant, I just recently read that the co-ed killer, Ed Kemper, has to wait another 7 years before he can stand before a parole board. And I'm like, that dude shouldn't be allowed before a parole board. That dude done really nasty, dirty stuff to his mother's severed head. He should not be allowed back into society no matter what. So this is what this film Angst is about. It is a brutal it's a brutal watch. Now I have to admit I have not seen this movie. I've read everything about it, but I just haven't managed to get my hands on it just yet. We recently got Tubi over here, which I have no complaints because it's absolutely fantastic. And apparently it's on Tubi, but it's on Tubi in the United States, not in Ireland and the UK. So that is Angst. It still makes the list because it's just known for its grittiness and brutality. So next up, I want to talk about a film called Tattoo. Tattoo is from 2002. This was part of the Tartan, I'm not sure if it was Tartan Extreme, but it definitely was Tartan DVD, and I remember it well from my old movie store days. This is about two detectives who end up investigating a serial killer who's got like a ritualistic fetish for tattooed skin. A lot of people who have watched this from 2002 would make comparisons to David Fincher's Seven. I was about to say The Seven because it's The Boys. But yeah, people have made comparisons to Seven. I wouldn't say it's like Seven at all, although it does sort of carry that same dark, visual, dreary tone as Seven, but it's a very different movie. So that's from 2002. That is called Tattoo. Next up, I want to talk about one, I think from 2005. It is called Antibodies. It's actually funny, if you check Antibodies on IMDb, then you'll find that the star of Antibodies is Norman Reedus. It's not. As far as I know, Norman Reedus was at the same festival. I'm not sure what he was promoting, maybe Boondock Saints. He met these two directors, or he met the director, and the director said he was making a serial killer movie, and Norman Reedus wanted to be in it, and he is in it he's in an, I think it's a non-speaking role, and he's in it for about 2 minutes maybe, if even, and yeah, he done his role for free. But what I would say about Antibodies is that it's got one of those really sophisticated, smart serial killers like Hannibal Lecter. If I had to compare Antibodies, I would say it's sort of like a mix of Memories of Murder with Silence of the Lambs, although not quite reaching the level of greatness of both those movies. Yeah, it's about like a small town murder, and this murder is very graphic murder, and it's in the same vein as an imprisoned serial killer. So a small town detective has to go to the big smoke, interview this serial killer, and try and find a pattern and to stop him. And it's really, really, really good. So if you enjoy Silence of the Lambs or Memories of Murder, or both, then go check out Antibodies from 2005. What's up next? That's three now I've talked. Okay, so next up is The Golden Glove. The Golden Glove is, I've talked about this quite a lot on Movie Hooker, and yeah, that is I think out of all these movies, I don't know if it's the most disturbing, but it's definitely the grimiest. This is 100% one of those movies where you need to take a shower afterwards. The Golden Glove is about the real-life crimes of German serial killer Fritz Honka, who killed people, I believe, between 1970 and 1975. He killed 4 or 5 girls. This, even though it is a horrible watch. It is still a fantastic watch. The attention to detail in this, because I sort of became a little bit infatuated with Fritz Honka after watching The Golden Glove. Because I believe, I think there's two types of serial killers. There's a serial killer that kills for pleasure, and then there's a serial killer that's just really ill. And I thought that Fritz Honka fell into the category of an extremely unwell man that needed to be locked away forever. But yeah, the attention to detail of this man's apartment, and what I mean by that is that this guy killed and chopped up people and just put them in the cupboard beside him. He never tried to dispose of the bodies. He had no idea, I think, what he was doing, and he had a lifetime of abuse if you follow his story. I'm not saying he didn't commit horrible crimes, because he really, really did. But I think he was very unwell. But that is The Golden Glove, and The Golden Glove is, yeah, I think the guy who starred in The Golden Glove, who plays Fritz Honka, apparently he was like a stage actor who wanted to get into TV and film, and he was trying to, I think, and he was in a play, and the director of The Golden Glove went to this play not knowing that he was going to cast this guy. But apparently the director's wife whispered in his ear, "You've found your Fritz Honka." And I think Jonas Dassler, who plays Fritz Honka, was only 22 when he played that role, and it was his first ever, I think, feature film role, and just brilliant. His transformation is fantastic as well, because he sort of would remind you of Robert Pattinson a little bit, and his transformation into Fritz Honka was just revolting. So I think there's one more somewhere that I want to talk about. And I'm going to have to go into Movie Hooker here, because I'm writing an article as well on all these movies. And if you want, you can go check that out and share it. Got it. The last one on my list, and this is a very lesser known. This is something I actually avoided because I didn't like the look of the cover, and that was a huge mistake on my part, because it's a great movie. This movie is called Cold Hell, and it can be viewed on Shudder. I think it's a Shudder original, so it's going to be available wherever you get Shudder. This is about an MMA fighter, a female MMA fighter, and she's getting a hard time in life. Everything is against her. And then one night after training, she sees a serial killer brutally slay one of his victims, and then the serial killer gets a glimpse of her, and that's what starts the movie. It's just like basically a big giant cat and mouse chase, and the serial killer has no idea that when pushed to the brink, this woman just explodes into an absolute killing machine. Absolutely brilliant female character, and yeah, it's one of those movies where the hunter becomes the hunted, and very enjoyable and brutal as well. So guys, that is it for my list of German serial killer movies. So just to reiterate what we had here, we had Angst, we also had Tattoo from 2002, Antibodies from 2005, Cold Hell, I'm not too sure, 2019, and The Golden Glove, which is recent enough as well. I hope you haven't seen some of these movies and you've added them to your list. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button and all that. Thank you now. Bye bye.